Joining us, president and founder of the Eurasia Group and G0 Media, Ian Bremmer. So, Ian, we start with this because it was only a couple days ago that we began by talking about Donald Trump's unpopularity in Europe, broadly unpopular, but interestingly, unpopular among nationalist right voters and supporters, so much so that the leaders of these movements, which had looked to Donald Trump for guidance and for an example on how to regain power, are separating themselves again from, or anew from Donald Trump, like Giorgia Meloni, the leader or the AfD party, Nigel Farage in the UK. So my question regarding what we're seeing in Albania is just how unpopular, how toxic has Donald Trump become?
Yeah, the French National Rally being much careful as well in the run-up to the 2027 election after Macron. I mean, anywhere you go in Europe right now, Trump is polling in the single to low double digits. He's incredibly unpopular. It's the opposite to Israel, for example. We saw that with Meloni, who's had a hard time at home for economic reasons, and also she just recently lost a popular referendum on changing some judicial rules. And as a consequence, when she gets into a fight with Trump, and remember, Meloni was the only European leader to actually come to in person his inauguration for the second time around, and was, really promoted herself as a Trump whisperer, that because she had access to Trump, because Trump liked her, she could be a bridge as someone that was, trying very heavily to be a constructive leader in Europe. She instead went after Trump hard. And frankly, politically, that's played well for her. I was just in Vienna, Katie, in the last 2 days, and saw the president of Austria in the morning address his audience by really taking big swings at President Trump, so much so that some of the foreigners in the audience, some of the Americans, thought it was a little untoward. But it clearly plays in Austria, and it's on the back of the corruption, as you're seeing in Albania. It's on the back of the Greenland episode. It's the unilateral decision to rip up trading agreements and charge higher tariffs. It was Trump kicking Zelensky out of the White House and suspending intelligence and defense for Ukraine. Most recently, it's the United States unilaterally using export controls to prevent allies to have access for the most advanced large language models in the AI world. Anywhere the Europeans look, they see Trump particularly as an individual that is not to be trusted, not to be worked with, and they increasingly know that he's not popular. He doesn't have much time left in the United States. So what they've been saying privately for the last year and a half, they're starting to say publicly. And that, of course, is the big change. What's going to happen after midterms when the Republicans lose the House, when they lose a few seats in Senate? The answer is that allies, like we're seeing in Europe, are going to be much, much more loud in their willing to criticize President Trump.
Here's an angle on this that I don't have the answer to. Maybe you do. With Donald Trump growing, his unpopularity growing, so much so that the Albanian prime minister might get ousted over this deal that he made for this Trump resort in that country, with Donald Trump launching the war in Iran and maybe starting to alienate allies in the Middle East, what he's been doing with Benjamin Netanyahu. He's been trying, his family has, to make deals all throughout this administration, deals in foreign countries for various resorts or investments, et cetera. At some point, does his financial stake, the businesses that he's connected to, do they start taking a broader hit? And then I wonder, could that possibly change Donald Trump's politics with our allies?
I don't know. I mean, is he going to go from 5 billion to 50 billion, which is the whisper number you sometimes hear among supporters, over the next 2 years? No, I think the trajectory will be more constrained. I think fewer leaders will be willing to provide as much largesse transactionally when they think that Trump is going to be out. And it's not that they're worried about being investigated. It's not that they're worried that the population is going to come after them. Many of the countries doing the biggest deals are places that don't have to worry about their local populations at all, like Gulf monarchies. for example. But no, I do think that the big difference is that Trump himself is being constrained in the disruptive policies that he can promote when he puts himself above the country.
The backlash to Ivanka's grifting has gone global. Protests are continuing to grow in size and intensity in Albania, where our reporters estimate there were tens of thousands of people in the streets today to oppose the plans for a Jared Kushner-backed luxury resort on protected land on the coast, land that Jared Kushner and his wife Ivanka Trump found when they were on a yacht trip, and they jumped off the yacht and went swimming and then hiking barefoot. It's being called the Flamingo Revolution. It's sending a message loud and clear that, for their part, the people of Albania are drawing a line in the sand and will not stand for destroying their country's natural environment to benefit the barefoot billionaires. Now, despite those protests, the country's prime minister tells Reuters this, quote, Albania will plow on with a luxury resort planned by Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, on a remote stretch of Balkan coast despite persistent protests over its environmental impact. Adding that the developers will stun onlookers with their plans in the coming months. Quote, I'm telling you, it's going to be a beautiful project, and we're going to do it, and we're going to be proud to contribute to Europe, the prime minister said during an interview in his office a few meters from where nightly demonstrations against the Ivanka project have taken place. I want to bring in Norm Eisen, who served as special counsel for ethics and government reform in the White House under President Barack Obama. He's now a senior fellow at Brookings and the executive chair of Democracy Defenders Fund. Alex Wagner's still here. We're hoping to speak to our reporter on the ground, Inez de la Quatera, on the ground in Albania for us. But the crowds tonight are so big that she wasn't able to get a signal out. But here is some of her reporting from earlier today with the protesters.
Did you see the video of Ivanka? Ivanka talking about the island?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I think that she's talking nonsense, and she's making something for herself to be like a good one, and to see that we are only investing for your future, for something big. So I think no one believes them.
Why was it important for you to bring your daughter here?
I wanted her to learn that her own voice is important, and she has the right to talk.
Excellent. And what's your hope for the future of Albania?
I hope this protest comes with a real concrete plan and with a real change.
Incredible reporting from our colleague. Let me show you, Norm, that video that the people of Albania are responding to. This is Ivanka Trump.
It's an unbelievable, beautiful 1,400-hectare private island in the middle of the Mediterranean. We were on a friend's boat, and we stopped for a swim. Effectively, that's how we found it. We swam to the islands. We went on a hike, barefoot all the way up to the top, and we were just captivated. And it stayed with us ever since. And over the course of many years, we developed the opportunity to help realize its potential and transform it, but with a lot of restraint and care because the land is so beautiful.
Norm, I've been asking Alex here what part of Miami Ivanka lives in that they use the metric system. We had to Google here what a hectare is. But this is baloney. I mean, this is a part of the natural environment that the people of Albania value as it is. So they didn't do anything with restraint. I mean, that is a lie, or at least not anything that is accepted by the local Albanian people.
There's just not enough grift for the Trump family in the continental United States, particularly with the courts stopping corrupt Trump family projects like the $1.8 billion slush fund or Trump's appropriation of the Kennedy Center. So they've rolled over the family to this island. How, Nicole, how can that Albanian prime minister honestly deal with the people of his country when the president of the United States family are the ones who want to take this island You know how bad it is? Albania is desperate to get into the EU. The EU is saying that the environmental impacts on this pristine land may stop Albanian accession to the EU. What is Jared Kushner even doing out there, supposedly as a special envoy, while he's involved in these and many other business projects? Where's his financial disclosures? Is he complying with the legal requirements for those who work?
This report raises a question that's becoming harder to ignore. How much should a president's health matter to be public, to the public? The discussion wasn't just about Donald Trump's age. It focused on the growing political debate over transparency and whether voters deserve more information about a presidential's physical and cognitive condition. What caught my attention is that there are strong opinions on both sides. Some commentators argue that Trump's recent public appearances have fueled new questions about his health, while others point out the political opponents may also be using the issue as a campaign strategy. At this point, a lot of these claims remain matters of debate rather than established fact. The bigger issue is accountability. Whether it's Donald Trump or any other further president, people expect the commander-in-chief to be physically and mentally capable of making critical decisions. That's why presidential health is always going to be a major public decision. This story is likely to stay in the headlines, especially as the political campaign continues. It will be important to watch for verified medical information rather than relying on speculation alone.